2025 is here, and one thing that has not changed is the fact that gas keeps getting higher and higher in price, which absolutely blows. But if you're in the market for a new car, you might be thinking electric, but you don't fully want to commit to electric car, and that leads you to the hybrid route. Well, hybrids are absolutely a great option and alternative to going to fully electric and helps you save some money. And I'm here to give you guys my top 3 hybrid cars for the year 2025. My name is Jason, and you're watching Got an X. Number 3 on the list is going to be the Lexus NX 350 Hybrid. Now, this vehicle comes in at a little bit of a steeper price with $47,000. Now, that may be a steep price, but it does a great job blending luxury and practicality, netting you quite a nice vehicle overall. This comes equipped with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder hybrid engine that creates 240 horsepower. Now, this 240 horsepower is actually quite engaging. Don't get it twisted just because the number isn't crazy high. But the big takeaway from this engine is you are going to have 39 miles per gallon, which is absolutely fantastic because one of the biggest pros of this vehicle is it's quite spacious. You'd be a little bit more surprised compared to some of its competitors. You have a lot more room. Either if you're sitting in the back seat, the front seat, or wherever you are, you're going to be quite comfortable through in this vehicle overall, as well as the looks of this thing have gone and outdone themselves. I think it looks fantastic, looks quite nice, as well as on the inside. Everything is fancy and up to date. Now, the biggest cons of this vehicle, there are 2 in my opinion. One is going to be the driving is not necessarily the most fun in this category of car, but I think it kind of makes up for it by being the most practical of them. And when I'm looking for hybrid vehicles, I'm looking for something that's a little fun, but more or less is a practical and comfortable experience. Now, the biggest thing is, I think, is going to be the price, because you are paying a hefty premium for the reliability of the engine inside that car. And if you can't get over that hill, I completely understand it, and that's why it's at the bottom of our list in our top 3. It is still a great vehicle, but it's not necessarily the best one that you're going to be able to get for your money. Now, number 2 on the list is going to be the Honda Accord EXL. Now, this hybrid starts at around $35,000, which is a bit cheaper than the one previously listed, but this one is not a luxury vehicle. Obviously, this is just going to be your standard hybrid. But what this does have, in fact, is going to be a 2-liter 4-cylinder hybrid engine that creates 204 horsepower and gets you a whopping 48 estimated miles per gallon, which is absolutely insane. This vehicle already feels like a fun driving experience. It is nice looking on the outside, and it just has that good car drive and feel, which I think is absolutely stunning for a vehicle like this. I think the biggest takeaway when you're going to be getting one of these is genuinely, I'm going to harp back on it. I've said it like 3 times already, but the driving experience of this, it is tight. You feel good. You're in a nice position, as well as you have a bit of space in a sedan like this as well, which is absolutely nice. I do think I want to say a couple of the biggest cons for this one for me, though, are going to be that you can't get an all-wheel drive, which I would absolutely love if there was an all-wheel drive version. I think it would just add to the fun driving experience already. But the biggest issue I have with this is I'm just not necessarily a fan of some of the stuff in the interior. I don't like the design of it as a whole. It has a hexagonal like vent pattern, and I'm just not the biggest fan of that. That's just a personal gripe. But besides it being a personal gripe, you know, the infotainment isn't my absolute favorite. This vehicle stands out so good on its own that I feel like it would be criminal to not include it on a best hybrid list, especially one this short, because this vehicle has everything. Affordable price point, nice features, comfortable, good driving experience. It's almost the best hybrid that I think you can get on the market. But there is just one car that I think beats it, and it is definitely biased, but hey, you're here for my list. But the number 1 spot is going to be a car that I think beats this out. But if you do prefer the Accord and you want a sedan, I think this might be the best one you can get on the market. So this is something to keep in mind moving on to number 1. Now, the number 1 car on my list for if you guys want a new hybrid in 2025 is going to be the 2025 Toyota Prius. Now, I know. The hybrids and Prius are almost synonymous because the gas mileage on its own exclaims a lot of great things. But Before we get into that, I want to talk about the engine underneath the hood. This engine, like most other hybrids we've talked about on the list, is going to have a 2-liter inline-4 engine with the hybrid powertrain and everything along those lines, but it gets an estimated, some trims, 57 miles per gallon, which is absolutely ludicrous for not being a plug-in hybrid. But on top of that 57 miles per gallon, you get about 52 if you go on some of the higher trims and stuff like that, where it's demanding a little bit more from your vehicle, which is still absolutely insane. Being over 50 miles per gallon for not a plug-in hybrid, I think is absolutely amazing. And on top of that, the design language from 2023 and on for the Prius has kind of just updated and made this vehicle look a lot better than you'd expect. I feel like the Prius, it was kind of like you were trading looks for something that was reliable. It would get you what you need. But now I don't feel like it's that big of a compromise. I actually really do like the way the new Prius looks, and maybe that's just me coming out with a little bit of bias here, but it does look quite nice. And on top of that, it is one of those cars that has that reliability that has been backed throughout the years. And I'm going to tell you guys a quick little story because I am so inclined, because I believe that the Prius is so good. I have a family member who bought a Prius, and his job directly is to use his car and drive around. So he puts on thousands of miles over the years. Now, he had owned this Prius for about 7 or 8 years, and the amount of miles he put on it was 270,000 with 0 problems. That is reliability I just don't think you can get from any other car brand right now. I know some other car brands have very reliable engines and stuff like that, but Toyota just has instead that time-tested and true reliability, which is something you want with a hybrid. You want good gas mileage, reliability, and everything along those lines. Now, I will say the biggest cons for the Toyota Prius is I'm not the biggest fan of its interior. I think you can get some nice colors, but it's just not necessarily, I don't feel comfortable in it that much. But I think if you're looking for something that is a hybrid, if you want to get good gas mileage, save yourself some money, and still like your car, I think the Prius just absolutely can't be beat, at least not this year. Now, if you guys have any hybrids that you think top any of these three, I completely could understand it. There are so many amazing hybrids out there in the world, and this list definitely did not cover any plug-in hybrids. I did that intentionally, just so you know. I didn't want it to be like plug-in hybrid versus base hybrid versus everything like that. This is just for solely cars that you just buy, and you don't have to worry about plugging in every night to get that good miles per gallon. And the Prius does stand on top. If you guys don't think so, let me know in the comments down below, and let me know what your favorite hybrid vehicle is. And if you'd like to see more from this, I would love to keep doing it. So leave a comment on what you'd like to see, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.